This is Mrs. Martin, and you are watching the video on how to build a frayer model. The first thing you need to do when you build a frayer model is you need to set up a piece of paper that looks like this. Now you've been provided a piece of paper that has all of the directions on how to build a frayer model, so this is just the auditory support for that. I'll give you a moment to recopy your piece of paper so that it looks like this. Okay, I'm going to go on. However, remember, you have a piece of paper that you can use as a reference to do this even after I've moved on without you. Here's a copy of the piece of paper that you've been provided. Each of these boxes is telling you the key things that I want you to find out about the word. When you're learning vocabulary, it's common that students will learn the vocabulary word, and then they'll learn the definition, and that's really all that they'll master, and that's not enough to be a successful student. So here what I want you to do is I want you to put the word in the center, and then I want you to go to your textbook, and I want you to find between 3 and 5 of the things about this word that you might need to know. I want you to draw a picture that helps you remember what the word is. I want you to give me a scientific example, something that was in the class, in the book, or something that a scientist might do in the lab. On a personal example, something that says outside of life, outside of class. You can't say, I only did it in science class. You need to say something that how you've done this outside of class. And then a definition in your own words. Now you might want to check the definition in the textbook before you put it in your own words, but it still needs to be in your own words. So here's how an example looks. I'm going to choose the word length to be my choice word. Now remember, when I'm listing, I need to list 3 to 5 things that are about length that aren't really the definition, but are things that I'm going to need to know. For example, the length in the metric system is measured in meters. This is something that I'm going to make sure that you need to know. The tool is the ruler. The main label is the meter. In America, we often use feet and inches when we're not in science class, but America is actually the only country that does that. Everybody else does the metric system. And synonyms for height or length include height, distance, and width. Now they're all measured with rulers, so they're all technically length, even though they use different words. So this would be the types of things that I'd be looking for. So as you complete this assignment, make sure that you include in the listing section what the unit is, what the tool is, what the label is. All right, measured in meters, the label's a meter, and then it's all measuring length. Okay, so this is, I guess I did these 2 twice, but the same thing. Okay, so that's length. Now if I'm going to go do this picture sketch, as you can see, your art skills don't matter. Here, I've drawn 2 meter sticks, and I've labeled them meter and that their length, and I've also labeled them as a ruler. And then I've drawn a stick figure here and indicated that this guy is 1.5 meters tall. So that is my picture sketch to remind me that length can also be height. My scientific example, when I measure the height of a table in class, that's a length measurement, example 1 meter. Or if I measure the distance from Martin's room to the gym, that's a length measurement of about 200 meters. I'm pausing here to make sure that you're caught up. A personal example is something that you do about yourself outside of class. For example, Mrs. Martin's handspan from thumb to pinky is 19 centimeters. I actually checked to find that out. So you might find a little ruler somewhere and find something in length for you. That's a personal example. And last is a length of how far. My personal definition, length is how far it is from one point to another. It doesn't matter how far, because sometimes if it's really far, we call it distance instead of length, but it's still length. And it doesn't matter in what direction, because sometimes if we call it height, and sometimes we call it width, but it's still length. So that's how you do a frayer model. You need to do a frayer model for all of the terms that are on the board. And you need to follow the directions, and this video will be posted so that you can refer to it again should you need to. And you still have the paper copy of the definition of the directions. All right,